Hi blockheads. We're going to make the arbor window, the second block in month 5. And the arbor window is nothing but a lot of 1 and 7/8 inch squares. Okay, so the first thing that's very important is that your squares are cut accurately at 1 and 7/8 inches. The next thing that becomes important is that you use an accurate quarter-inch seam and you're consistent. Otherwise, when you go to sew them together, all of your intersections won't match up. So what you're going to do is take all those little 1 and 7/8 inch blocks and lay them out in this pattern, and you can look at your instructions to see how to do that. Then what we're going to do next is we're going to sew these together. We're going to leave this one alone. We're going to sew these 3 together, and then these 5 together, and then these 7, and like that. So it's almost like in diagonal rows. A little tip I can give you so that you don't make a mistake sewing them together is, look, there's actually a center block in each one. Here the center is blue, here the center is white, here the center is purple, and we keep going. So take your center block and sew a purple one to each side. Here take your white block, sew a blue to each side, and then a purple. And here start with your purple block, a white on each side, then a blue, then a purple. And then you'll end up with this correctly. Okay, after you do that, this is what you're going to have. And now what becomes important is nesting, or how you press your seams. So your little purple ones stay off the edge here, and you're going to set these seams get pressed this way, these this way, these this way. So now I can easily sew this to this, and this to this, and my seams will nest. Okay, but we do have these little extra little purple ones. So to sew that on, what I'm going to do is put right sides together, and this seam is pressed outward. So I'm going to line up the edge of my little purple block with the raw edges of this one, and that will pretty much center my little purple block in between here. So let's sew that together. And remember, quarter-inch seams are really important, so be consistent. My thread is not cooperating. Make sure I'm, yeah. Okay, be sure it's best to be sewing with your pressed seams up so that you can be sure you're keeping them the way you pressed them, because remember, that's going to be important when I go to sew the next one on. I want them to nest. Okay, so now I'm going to take and sew these 2 together. Okay, and the blue and the white have to come together. So I'm going to take them and nest my seams. And I'm nested right there. Okay, so between my thumb and my finger there, I'm going to hold it. May I want to sew? Well, it doesn't matter. I have seams either way. So I have to be sure that I keep the seams going the correct way. And the ones underneath here are supposed to go that way. So I'm going to make sure that they stay that way. Feel these are nested. And now I move on to my next set that I want nested. I'm not being cooperative because the under one isn't pressed, it's staying the right way. Okay, here we go. Lots of starting and stopping here. I need to make sure everything is laying the way it's supposed to. Okay. Now I would just continue that way. Okay, making sure that everything lines up the way I want it to. Okay, and now I would just keep going down the ways. what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna press when I'm done. And then I'm gonna press these open. Because there's just lots of seams here. So, doesn't much matter. They're gonna have to go back on themselves one way or another. Press them open. Okay, and this is why I would wait until the very end to press all of these open, because then I don't have to worry about it. But I want you to go and finish sewing this together, and when you have this all together. Well, if you're back, it must mean that you have this. Okay, hopefully all of your intersections are lining up and everything looks nice and flat. Okay. I had told you to press these seams open, but if you have trouble making this fit, I'm going to have you go back and press these last two seams toward the, we'll call it the orphan blocks at the end. Okay? So then what you need to do is you need to fold this in half and mark the center this way, and I've already done it. I used a friction pen so it'll come out. And then fold it in half the other way and mark the center, and then you'll have a nice little cross. Okay, once you have that cross, take a 6.5 inch ruler and put the 6.5 inch ruler, we're going to do it this way, it's going to be like a diamond shape rather than the straight edges, and the 6.5 inch ruler has the lines at 90-degree angles in the middle, and you put those lines right on the little cross that you made. Okay, and then check and be sure that everything, you've got a little bit, you're not cutting a hole anywhere. Okay, see right here, this one I'm having a little bit of trouble, so I'm gonna pull that seam out a little bit so that I'll get a nice straight cut there. Put this back on. And see, now I'm going to have some purple everywhere. So if you have trouble, if you're shy a little, just go back and pull that pressed seam out a little bit. Okay, but it looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine. Now, if you don't have a 6.5 inch ruler at home, and this is going to be difficult to do without one, then just come on, bring your piece into the shop, and we'll let you use ours. Okay? So if that's a problem, don't let that stop you. Now I have a 6.5 inch block.